The economy isn't fine. There are signs of trouble all around us. The only people who think the economy is driving on all cylinders are either woefully ignorant of the facts or they support an agenda that's just straight up contrary to good old-fashioned capitalism. The facts and figures I'm about to share with you tell a different story, the real story, one might say. They lead to only one logical conclusion, that our economy is crumbling under the weight of massive debt, terrible policies, and leaders who seem to have divested themselves of their constitutional duties. What's even more interesting is you'd have to be blind not to see how bad things have gotten, and you'd have to be very much uninformed not to see that conditions are going from bad to worse every single day. Now, here are some of the economic signs of the times. According to a recent FDIC report, 63 problem banks are operating. The entire banking system in the US has realized losses totaling $517 billion. Well, how did this happen? Because I know we're all paying our bank fees, right? Interest rates going up have slashed the price of fixed income securities like mortgages, and these are the securities that banks like to hold. The FDIC was forced to admit, and I quote, higher unrealized losses on residential mortgage-backed securities resulting from higher mortgage rate in the first quarter drove the overall increase. The banks with the highest unrealized losses are also more prone to shutting down. It'd be nice to know which banks are in danger of defaulting, right? But good luck getting that information. The FDIC is keeping what we call a tight lip on that one. Why? Well, one reason is because they fear bank runs across the country. This puts depositors like you and I in a precarious position. Wouldn't you like to know if your bank is in trouble before it's too late? I know I would sleep better at night knowing what's really going on. Now, if you think $517 billion in unrealized losses is bad for banks, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because now there's another major issue taking place. Lots of commercial real estate loans are going bad. Some say it's turning into the worst real estate crisis ever, possibly worse than the financial crisis of 2008. Now, when I say commercial real estate, I'm talking about office and retail space primarily. This sector faces falling prices, tanking demand, and higher interest rates. Of course, this all started with the pandemic. Everyone got shut in. They figured out how to work remotely. Now no one really wants to go back to the rat race, do they? And why should they? What's so great about getting stuck in traffic, commuting for hours every day, and having to pay an arm and a leg for gas? Telecommuting and work from home has put a serious crimp in the demand for office space. Vacancy rates have skyrocketed as a result, and the average national office vacancy rate rose to a high of 18.3%. Commercial real estate companies are facing an uphill battle. In 2023, the biggest bankruptcy was filed by the Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust. This was a company that was saddled with more than $1 billion in liabilities that it just could no longer support. But it could still get even worse than that. What happens in the commercial real estate market will impact the financial sector. Commercial loans are coming due, and many of those are not going to get paid. Sources at the Mortgage Bankers Association say that more than $1 trillion of commercial real estate debt is maturing in the next 24 months. Let me say that again. $1 trillion maturing in the next 24 months. Massive defaults are not out of the question, which will cause numerous financial institutions to fail in the upcoming months. Okay, so we've got potential bank failures and commercial real estate company failures. Another menacing issue is a potential disaster in the small business sector. One survey says that about 2/3 of small businesses are all behind the eight ball. Small business owners are terrified of the current economy. They've seen how bad economic policies are impacting their ability to get customers, sell goods, services. Inflation has driven the price of everything up, and small businesses have had to adjust and charge more for goods and services. But wages, well, they've not kept up with inflation, have they? Which is why consumers are fearful and spending less. Without more customers in the door, many small businesses have no chance. Just have to close their doors whether they want to or not. Why do you care? Why is it so important? Because close to half of all workers in the US work for small businesses. By some estimates, that's close to 62 million people. The impact on small business is already being felt, with more than 408,000 job losses in recent months. All indicators show that this is just the beginning. Talking about small businesses, retailers are struggling badly right now. The disappointing sales numbers can't be ignored. Major retailers are reporting negative year-over-year sales, and when you adjust for inflation, the numbers are absolutely worse. They're getting terrible, not getting any better. Even retailers reporting positive sale numbers are still well behind. Again, when adjusting for inflation, some retailers are barely keeping up, and most can't keep up and are barely scraping by in an economy hanging on by a thread. You know things are bad when Walmart starts closing stores. The retail giant closes nine locations across 5 states so far this year. It's just the beginning. Retail experts say the cuts are a sign of things to come. Shoppers need to brace themselves. Other chains are also preparing for store closing nationwide. Can you believe Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't exist anymore? Whatever happened to the softer side of Sears? Drudge Report is calling it the next retail apocalypse, and it's going to be bad. Right now, some industry experts believe we're on the track to lose nearly 8,000 stores this year alone. But the looks of it, hey, we're in the early stages of a major economic meltdown. The outlook for the immediate future, it's bleak. Some believe we're in for a bigger crash than the one we had in 2008, when 10.2 trillion in wealth vanished in 2008 into thin air. Part of that problem is that every single major traditional asset class is forming a bubble. Stocks are overpriced. Housing is overpriced. Commodities are overpriced. That's why this could be a crash like we've never seen before, because the everything bubble could burst. If everything goes up in smoke all at once, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Remember back in 1929, stocks were in a bubble, but there was no artificial stimulus like we have today with trillions of fresh dollars being pumped into the economy. And what's more, this bubble has been growing for nearly a decade and a half. Most bubbles last about 5 years and then they pop. This one is 3 times longer, so it stands to reason that we could expect a bigger crash. Time will tell, but hey, signs are all around us. The trillions pumped into the economy have done nothing to fix our problems. We're just delaying what has to happen. But we can't keep the charade going forever. Eventually the chickens are going to come home to roost, I promise you. That's why I suggest looking into alternative assets that act as a real hedge against economic shocks, while providing you with cash flow and wealth accumulation. I discuss my favorite alternative assets on this channel. So do yourself a favor, subscribe, like, turn on notifications so you'll know when I post new content that can help you safely navigate the economic perils coming our way.